Good afternoon, lunch and learners. Hello, Coach Juan. How are you today?
I'm doing wonderful, Coach Bruce.
Great, great. Okay, viewers out there, welcome to episode 51 of Lunch and Learn. I'm waiting for the day we're up to episode 5,000. We say, hey, 51, big deal. But we're very proud that we're here. We're serving you guys, 51st episode. And today is June 30th, 2023. And Juan, what is it about June 30th, 2023 that we always say?
Yeah, it's the only June 30th, 2023 you're ever gonna have in your life, so make the best of it.
Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, lunch and learners, you know that we talk about what we're going to talk about for a few minutes before we go live. And we were studying the science of getting rich earlier this morning. And Coach Juan opened up an audio tape for us. It was really great. And it was about how everything starts with thought. We see that in the Bible, that God thought and then he spoke and then it became real. So, hence the name of our Facebook, CBA, Conceive, Believe, Achieve. And we ascribe to that everything starts with a thought. And from the thought, it becomes real for us. And then we start taking actions and we produce results. So, we were getting into a conversation about this was Wallace Wattles who we were listening today. Wallace Wattles is often referred to in Bob Proctor, the PGI, Proctor Gallagher Institute. They ascribe to that. Bob Proctor then credits Earl Nightingale, who's one of his mentors, a direct mentor. He worked with him for 5 years. And Earl Nightingale always acknowledges and cites Napoleon Hill. So those are from the last century, the three most current kind of philosophers, wisdom speakers. But we were also thinking this whole stuff goes back centuries. We could look at the Christian church and Jesus. And one of the things we noticed was that Jesus never wrote a word about what he thought or did. That was not his function. It was his apostles, and there have been reported that there were more than four apostles, but the leaders of the church got together a certain period of time and said, these are the four that we're going to bless as or codify as being worthy of being put together in a book that they called the New Testament, or maybe they didn't, as they were distinguishing it from the Old Testament. Anyhow, it wasn't the writings of Jesus. They were reporting the teachings of Jesus. And even before that, there was a tradition from the Asian area, and I don't know if it was Chinese or Japanese, but it was wisdom writings by Lao Tzu. And I saw something not that long ago, maybe it was a year ago. I was kind of researching who was Lao Tzu, and they said that nobody really knows if there was one man, Lao Tzu. In the language that it was written in, Lao Tzu simply means old man or the wise man. So were these a collection of sayings. So we all love, Ceci's not here today, but Coach Ceci loves it too. We all love the wisdom that's inherent in what we read. And somehow we want to invite you into what we're learning, we're studying, we're pulling to ourselves. But we don't ever want you to think that we created these wisdoms. We want to share them with you, but Coach Juan didn't write them. Coach Bruce didn't write them. Coach Cecilia didn't write them. They've been written for a long time, and they have lasting power because they make sense. Even when they don't make sense, they're telling you if you're going to create something new, you got to step out of the accepted wisdom and be willing to suffer the slings and arrows, because a whole bunch of humanity is going to tell you you're making a mistake. Look at Steve Jobs. He got kicked out of Apple computers. So it's like there's always going to be people who are shooting slingshots and arrows at the leader. So why am I going on and on about this? Coach Juan, save me. What do you want to say about this?
Yes, yes, and thank you for bringing that up, Bruce. And you know what? One of the things that I admire from Bob Proctor, because he says, you know what? I love bragging about all this stuff because none of it is mine. I just learned how to put certain things together that make it that work for me, and that's what I offer to my clients. And that's the same thing that Bruce is talking about. It's like now we're not creating anything new. It's just we put in our own taste to it, and the experience that we have with this material. That's the only thing that we're adding to that. But we're not trying to reinvent the wheel because there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. Just learn how to tap into the things that you need in your life to get the results that you want, and that's pretty much what it's all about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You agree with that, Coach Bruce? Or
Absolutely. A lot of this conversation started. Um, I had an unofficial mentor years ago, and it's just somebody that was my parents' friend. He was my parents' age. He officed in downtown Chicago. I was officing in downtown Chicago. And he always called me kid. He says, "Kid, why don't we have lunch sometime? And, let's play some racquetball." And I was like, I was flattered, and I would bring certain situations to him, not thinking he was going to have some miraculous answer, but he always did. And the thing was, he listened to me, and then he gave me advice from his own experience. I was telling Coach Juan about one time I'm sharing something. I'm bearing my soul. My first wife just left. I went to work. She went to work. And at the end of the day, I came home. She was gone, and I went through the house first, letting it all be dark because I didn't want whoever had done something to her to like see me first. And finally, I went throughout the whole first floor, and I didn't see anything. And I turned on the light in the dining room, and on the dining room table was a letter, from my wife saying she was tired of our relationship, she was tired of our marriage, and yada, 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 yada. I was like, she said, I'm tired of all the fighting. And frankly, I grew up in a house where my parents, they would say they didn't fight, they discussed. They'd been counseling, so they discussed. But it was every day. There was tension in the house. And her parents were just the same, maybe even worse, because the father actually would hit the wife and hit the kids. Yeah. So I knew that she came from a similar, somewhat background. So I thought we were just doing marriage as people do marriage. And she had just gotten tired of it, and she left. So I thought, am I a horrible person? So it was a hard time. And I had a client. I was a stockbroker, and I had a couple of emergency room doctors. And one of them, I never met him, but we had a nice relationship over the phone. I mentioned, somebody suggested, he suggested lithium. And this was at that time was sort of the miracle drug for people who would go up and down in their mood swings. And he said, I went on it. It's been wonderful for me, blah, blah, blah. And I had a very good relationship with my mother. She was sort of my counselor. And I called her up and I said, gee, I had this client, he's a doctor, and he suggested, lithium. And she said, I hope you don't let anybody put you on drugs. I said, well, okay, I can't talk with her about this. Her own fears were coming up. So I met my friend, Larry Presner, my parents' friend. And he says, what's going on, kid? I told him a story about, my wife moving out and, having a hard time focusing and, the suggestion of lithium. And he had been on antidepressants for a number of years. And he says, well, I'm on antidepressants. I said, yeah. He said, let me ask you a question. Is this a sad period in your life? I was like, yeah, Larry, it's a sad period. My wife moved out. He says, have you gone through sad periods before? I said, yeah, sure. Nothing like this. He said, yeah. Have you needed medication to get through? I said, no. He says, do you think you're going to get through this one without drugs? I was like, yeah. He said, okay, you got your answer. So he was my Lao Tzu. He listened to me. He reflected back what he heard. He shared with me from his own experience and gave me the perfect answer for myself. This was a sad period. It's going to take a while to get over it, but, I didn't need medication to get through it. you know. So we were talking about how we're doing, Coach Juan always acknowledges me, and I love Coach Juan. I see how he contributes to people too, and it was his contribution to everybody through a Facebook presentation for 30 days. I thought, all right, this guy's great. So we want to invite you into kind of our parade. And I probably put that definition. I mean, that's all we're doing is continuing that wisdom parade that's existed for centuries. And we just want to share what we're learning, what we're studying, what we're promoting with you if it makes a difference for you. Coach Juan, anything you want to follow up?
And the only reason that we invite the viewers is because it impacts our life. I mean, it all this coaching and personal development has impacted my life in a big way, and that's what I wanna. That's the offer that we're making to you guys. Like, if it made a difference for me, I know that it can make a difference for you as well. So, and it all depends on the coach that you have too. Like, not all the coaches have not every coach out there is going to be the right fit for you. So we're making an offer to you guys. We just want to make ourselves available to you. So if you ever have any questions, any concerns, doubts, like, give us a call and let's figure out, see if we can even work together. I mean, we're not saying that we're going to be the perfect coach for every individual out there. That's impossible. But we are going to be able to coach some people, and maybe that's some people. It's you right now that you're listening to this audio today.
That's beautiful. And one of the questions, and I'm going to speak for Coach Juan and Coach Cecilia too, is one of the questions that we're going to be eminently interested in is, what is your big why? Again, our readings are saying that a lot of people, and not to be demeaning, but we don't think. We're not taught to think. We're sort of taught to go along with what's there. And we end up 50, 60 years later where we say, I never did what I wanted to do. So many women are saying, I live for my husband, I live for my kids. I didn't live for myself. And frankly, men aren't saying it, but that's what they're reacting to. I didn't live for myself. Well, if you don't ever take the time to discover who you are, of course you're not going to be living for yourself. You might find it serendipitously, like my wife moving out. I had to take a look at, geez, who am I being? What's the energy I'm giving out?
Mm-hmm.
What am I committed to? So you guys out in the viewer land, the same thing. We're always going to be finding or asking, who are you? But meaning, like, what do you want for yourself? So if we become like a little bit of a broken record, no, it's because we care about you and we want you to lead the life you love.
Exactly. And that's what it's all about, guys. That's what it's all about. And Bruce, and if you don't mind, can I share the syllabus from Wallace D. Waters with the
Please.
Community here?
Yeah.
It's very short. It says, there's a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of the universe. A thought in this substance produces the thing that is imaged by that thought. You can form things in your thought, and by impressing your thought upon formless substance can cause the thing you think about to be created. And I love this. And I was talking to Bruce earlier. We're talking like, what about when you have like a certain desire for a certain kind of dish, whether it be a sandwich, a pizza, or Mexican food, American, whatever it is, like, it starts in your thought. And every time I think about certain type of food that I want to eat, Bruce, like, I can even taste it when I'm thinking about it, like the taste buds come back to the surface. But we use our thinking stuff, like our thoughts, to create food. But what about when it comes to creating the life that we really want? We don't think it works for those things, and it does. That's how it starts. And I think earlier we heard about Bob Proctor making reference to Henry Ford, that he created the first V8 engine, and the mechanism, like, it can't be done, and it took maybe like 18 months, anywhere from a year to 18 months, for them to create that engine. But in his thought, it was already a done deal. The mechanics couldn't see it, but they worked at it until they made it happen.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah. So, viewers out there, what are you thinking that you want? And like the engineers are saying to you, can't happen. You're out of your mind. You're out of your element. What is it you want? And you need your Henry Ford championing you for your great desire.
Yes, I love that. I love how you phrased that, Coach Bruce. That was beautiful.
Thank you, my partner, my auspicious partner.
And you know what? It's like, and when we're thinking about what is the big why, like this, you can create your own relationship the way that you want it, like the relationship with your, maybe with your spouse or with your partner or whatever it is that you want to create, the beautiful, meaningful relationships. You can create that. If you're in a terrible situation now, you can scale that relationship to make it better, whether it be your income, your relationship, maybe a beautiful vacation, whatever it is, whatever that want is, if it's in your mind, you can make it happen. And we want to help you.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And some of you might have the perfect life right now, but given society's norms, you have people saying, well, you're not in the best house. You're not driving the best car. You're not this. You're not that. And you say, you know what? I have a loving family. I love the work I do. It doesn't look as grand as somebody else's work, but I love it. I go to work every day. I got a smile on my face. I come back. I got a smile on my face. I love what I do. So if that's you and you want to say, so many people, is it okay that I love my life? I love my kids. I love my wife. I love my husband. I was like, yeah, we want to hear from you too. Because a lot of us are afraid of saying, we got a great life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's what it's all about. It's all about.
Cool.
It's all about you. It's all about you, the viewer. It's all about Bruce, and it's all about, like any time that we're gonna get results, it's about the person. It's not about the results that Bruce has or the results that I get. It's like you're gonna create your own results, but you're gonna create the results that you want in your life. So I think that's it for today, Bruce.
I think so too, Coach Juan. Yeah.
So viewing audience, thank you for being part here with us. And Coach Jesse, we miss you, and you know what? We can't wait for you to be here with us again on Monday. But thank you, viewers, for being here with us. And we'll be back on Monday with something special.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.